If you're even tangentially interested in motorcycles or cars, you've likely come across a motovlog. I'm sure you've seen the format. It involves someone wearing a GoPro on their helmet, hooked up to a microphone and riding a motorcycle while either getting into some shenanigans, riding dangerously, musing on some sort of topic, or all of the above. I myself was bitten by the bug of wanting to ride a motorcycle by watching motovlogs. I'd always been interested in cars and knew that bikes had a much better dollar performance ratio than cars, so I started Googling about them, as anyone would do nowadays. I came across a channel of a young Australian guy named Tom who rode a lime green Kawasaki ZX6R through the streets of Melbourne. I was absolutely enthralled. I couldn't believe that there were all these videos of this guy wearing a GoPro allowing me to come along for the ride. I would scrub around the videos to find snippets of moments of acceleration. I'd imagine what it would feel like, how it would be when I finally decided to be on a motorcycle. Beyond just the motorcycle riding though, those videos made me dream of what was possible for me. I was a broke college kid at the time and the thought of buying a bike, traveling, and just having adventures sounded amazing. And a strange thing happened to me on my first time out on the road on a motorcycle. I had a weird out-of-body moment where I looked down at the dash and I felt like I was living in a YouTube video that I'd watched. It was like they were all coming to life and I was experiencing them. Motovlogging gets a bad rap these days. It's seen as a genre of content on YouTube that's rife with cringeworthy memes, terrible writing, awful personalities, and an absolutely overdone format. While I don't necessarily disagree that the format's been beaten into a bloody pulp and we might have created all the motovlogs that anyone would ever want to watch, I'd like to make the case that motovlogs are actually extremely underrated, and I don't think people give them enough credit for being a genre that's allowed millions of people to experience motorcycle riding vicariously. My name's Yammie Noob, and today I wanted to walk through why I believe motovlogging is so popular, and despite being a very oversaturated genre, is actually incredibly valuable for the experience it provides aspirational motorcyclists. So let's break this down. Who watches motovlogs? Well, if my personal analytics on here on YouTube are any indication, motovlogs are seen primarily by men aged 18 to 34. But beyond the demographic characteristics, what are the psychographic qualities of those people who watch? Is it a person who craves adventure? Maybe it's someone who's tired of their day-to-day existence and wants to take a chance on a motorcycle. Whatever the deep motivators are, something draws this audience to seek out this content. Motorcycles are a symbol of freedom, one of the purest expressions of personal mobility and adventure you can buy. It's a symbol of rebelling too. Typically your friends and family all know a guy who got seriously hurt on a bike. They inspire a sense of danger, excitement, and passion. That's something we all search for in our lives. But it requires commitment. In today's world, before anyone makes a major decision, they jump on the internet, reading product reviews, testimonials, watching user-generated content that's free from the bias of corporate interests, at least most of the time. But when it comes to riding motorcycles, beyond watching the countless review videos and determining which motorcycle to buy, you have to decide if you want to buy into this lifestyle. There's countless of videos out there explaining how motorcycle is an entirely big lifestyle switch, and it was for me, certainly. So this person is likely trying to determine if they're a right person for this lifestyle. Do I fit in with this group? Can I identify with these people? Another point I'd like to make is how motovloggers function in of themselves as characters in a bigger fiction. As you immerse yourself in their stories, their bikes, their narrative, it starts to look more like a Netflix special rather than someone's life. I think the road rage video feeds into this as well, as that's a popular subgenre of motovlogging. If you're not familiar, this is where a motorcyclist quote-unquote rages against someone on the road who has been perceived as wronging them. Typically this involves some sort of clickbait and a terrible title. But the road rage subgenre also works to explain how it's a vicarious experience. Most people normally don't even ride motorcycles, let alone rage and scream at someone in traffic or have a gun pulled out on them or get involved in some sort of fight. Bo Burnham described this as how your heart starts racing and your adrenaline starts pumping if you even so much as raise your voice to a stranger in public. But through these road rage videos, we're able to participate, even to a small degree, in a rare and exciting moment. I think that the main function of motovlogging serves is as a proto-virtual reality experience. In the past, if you wanted to ride a motorcycle, you'd have to find someone who had one and see if you liked it and go from there. But today, you can watch countless of hours of other people riding bikes, running through the gears, explaining how to shift, and going through every single single little detail of what it's gonna feel like when you ride. Besides throwing on a headset and doing some sort of POV experience, this is as close as you can get to riding without actually riding. Motovlogging has likely done more for motorcycle riding than any other form of advertisement around feelings of adventure ever has, because people can truly place themselves in the shoes of those who are riding. I think this effect compounds when the person behind the camera is also someone you can resonate with. In effect, you can become that person while you watch this video. And maybe at this point you're saying to yourself, Yam's gone too far. He's talking about entering the body of a content creator on YouTube while we watch a video like some sort of occult ritual. But I truly believe that that's why certain content creators resonate more than others. People feel like they can hang out with you, like you're a friendly presence, that you're just like them. And beyond that initial friendly sensation, it's that someone just like me is riding these things, so I can do it too. It forms itself as a deep validation for wanting to do this traditionally rebellious act, something that your friends and family probably don't want you doing. It envelops you in the possibility of riding, which is something that no other medium can do. Well, maybe video games to an extent, but there's really no good options for those in motorcycles in my opinion. And a lot of content on the internet is exactly that today. It's confirming that what you'd like to do is good, it makes sense, or beyond that the choices you made are valid. It serves to assuage fears and doubts too, especially if you're nervous about riding. Plenty of crash videos could persuade you not to ride, and yet there's plenty of videos explaining why riding isn't so bad, and that could persuade you to swing a leg over something that same day. Although there is a case to be made about crash videos as snuff or voyeurism, but we'll explore that topic another day. This is why I think the core audience of motovlogging are aspirational riders. Aspiration's an interesting thing. The word actually comes from the Latin aspiratonium, which means a breathing on, a blowing upon, rough breathing, influence. And the definition is a steadfast longing for a higher goal, the earnest desire for something above oneself. When we aspire to something, we're constructing a narrative about who we can become, the self you are leaving and the self you can become. Agnes Callard wrote about this in her book Aspiration, The Agency of Becoming, where she says that aspirations are dualistic. They're these feelings and thoughts that exist somehow between the present and the future, where you're striving to nurture your current values while somehow working towards future values that you're unsure about. That's where motovlogging comes in handy, in my opinion, as a way of quickly determining those values. Motovlogging gives us a glimpse into the person we could be if we rode motorcycles, if we answer the call of our aspirations to ride bikes. And as a quick note, there's a difference between ambitions and aspirations. Ambition is seeking to elevate yourself above others through some kind of effort, through reward and recognition. It's possible you can seek to be above others because you ride, but that seems kind of like a douchey thing to strive for, in my opinion. Rather, I think aspirational riders seek out this type of content to envision what that reality might look like for them. In my opinion, motorcycles are the epitome of an aspirational good for most Americans. Most people dream of owning one or riding one. I've met plenty of middle-aged men at gas stations who inquire about my bikes, telling me they've always wanted to ride. Hell, even an acquaintance of mine always tells me he has this dream of taking a BMW GS 1200 on a big road trip, even though he's never even swung a leg over a bike. But life gets in the way. Kids, marriages, mortgages, careers, timing, and a myriad of other factors allow the dream of riding to drift ever so slowly beyond our grip, which, as a side note, is why there's a huge spike of motorcycle ownership in men aged 40 and up, and subsequently why many men in that age range die on motorcycles. So we seek out content, we watch videos about these machines we may or may not own one day. It's the same reason why travel shows are so popular, or why we window shop on real estate websites, because it's fun to imagine the person you might be someday. It's fascinating to see a glimpse into a life you could have. But acting on those aspirations is what's important. Passively consuming content about a lifestyle you may or may not own is how people get rich in today's world. As we day trade attention and hope that we can capture your valuable eyeballs for even a moment longer, advertising dollars continue to get poured in. It's why there's an entire industry around owning expensive items and showing them off on the internet, looking at you, luxury car channels. And in all honesty, motovlogging isn't too different. I think it's just a bit more personal than your run-of-the-mill luxury voyeurism channels. But taking those deep motivators and acting on them is the important step, though. And if you've somehow stumbled onto this video through other motovlogs and you find yourself in the camp of an aspirational rider, I'll leave you with my favorite Langston Hughes poem. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up, like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore, and then run? Does it stink like a rotten meat, or crust and sugar over, like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? Thanks for watching this video, everyone. This is the second installment in a series of video essays I'm doing about motorcycle culture. What do you think? Are motorcycles aspirational goods? Am I just insanely pretentious and full of it? Do you wish you could get your time back? Well, too bad. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment letting me know why, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm naively hopeful that we can engage in some dialogue about these wonderful two-wheeled things that we obsess over. I'll catch you guys next time. See you later.